Good afternoon, Flippie.
Okay. Hi.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, also.
We are talking about your latest court case. And as we discussed earlier, we can really make videos of about 10 hours of your life there on the farm and everything that happened there. Behind everything is expropriation without compensation claim on your land. The land of which you have the title deed, you are the owner and you paid blood money and your pension money to buy that land. But yeah, I don't want to talk about the land claim. I don't want to talk about the efforts of the ANC to get farmers off their land. I just want to talk about this last incident of which you were found or was acquitted last week in the criminal matter. Okay, my English is not very good. I think yours is much better than mine. But I decided to make this in English for the benefit of our overseas supporters that also want to know what's going on. So we do it in English. Flippie, other than what AfriForum said, AfriForum pictured you as a drunkard, a lost case, somebody they don't want to be associated with. But you are not such a person. You have several degrees, isn't it true?
Yes, I've been to university successfully. Yeah, I don't know why I was depicted by that or that way. AfriForum should know better. It is maybe because they have dismissed their own guy that worked in a tel after losing a K-word, where he was, where it was said that he used the K-word, which I know him, he never would have done that, but yeah.
No,
they could have known me better. I mean, it's not a question that I was just a member of them for a very long time. It is now that we interacted, and I forgot the guy's name. I'll have to go into my telephone accounts to find out. I think his name was Chris or something like that. But he was a representative of AfriForum in Natal, and he came to my place various times. Even,
so they knew you?
Even after, well, I wouldn't say that AfriForum knew me, but the representative certainly did.
How long were you a member of AfriForum?
Since they started.
It's 15 to 20 years.
I was a member of Solidarity. Well, I don't know how long they existed, but yeah, you know, I was a Solidarity member, and AfriForum was sort of born out of Solidarity, and as soon as that started, I applied for membership.
You also contributed to Helpende Hand. Is it true?
Yeah, no, I was a paid-up member.
Yeah. I don't want to go to through your whole curriculum vitae, but you retired how many years ago?
Oh, yeah. I was actually retrenched when I was 58. That was in 2013. Actually, in 2012, yeah. 2013 was my first year that I didn't have a job.
Okay, and when you retired, you gave advice on fertilizers for farmers. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, I was After university, I was a teacher for a while, and then I bought a farm in the Cape, and that didn't go too well. And after that, I started working for other people. I worked for Transvaal Sugar, for instance. I was a teacher at the Vryheid Agricultural High School. And I was also, for quite a long while, I was the senior manager of agricultural training in the Gazankulu Training Trust, which was a NPC of the Gazankulu Development Corporation. And then I became a fertilizer advisor in 1994. So since then, I've been advising first in the Western Cape and then later in KwaZulu-Natal. I held quite senior positions down in the Cape and senior positions here in KZN in fertilizer companies.
Okay. So that's a short background so that people can know who you are. Now I want to return to the last incident. And I know there is a lot of other incidents. There was also a previous court case, and they are pestering you for quite a long time. But on the 3rd of June in 2020, that was in the peak of the lockdown, the COVID lockdown. You were attacked on your farm. You're a farmer that was attacked on your farm. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I was attacked on the 18th of April, if I remember correctly. That was absolutely when everybody still thought that COVID was this terrible disease and that you will fall down dead in streets and stuff like that. We were all at that stage still a little bit terrified of COVID, and we stayed put. We didn't go to towns. We weren't allowed to drive. My wife is a nurse, so she went in and out, but that's it. It was everything was clamped down at that stage.
Are you talking about the attack next to the river?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's first talk about the attack next to the river. You were attacked by a black by the name of Dube, and he attacked you with a weapon.
That's good. Yeah. I don't know if I have to do the whole story, but
no,
it was what do you want me to? Okay.
Just in short.
I think it was a setup to it was. I think it was a setup to harm me, or even worse. It was a trap that they've laid, which unfortunately for them didn't turn out as they thought it would have been, because I normally go down to close the security gates on my own. And this time my wife actually, because it was so quiet, she just walked along. We took the dogs and we went to close the gate. We saw these guys coming through the farm a bit earlier, but I didn't do anything about them. I just thought, well, just pass through. Some of the people here do pass. They've got permission to pass through my farm, and I didn't really want to go down there to inquire whether it was who they specifically were, but we saw them, and half an hour has passed, and we went down and to close the security gates, and the dogs were with us, and I saw that another gate was open towards where my pump is, and I thought that these guys might have gone and, there are cables and stuff like that. Maybe they've done some damage. I don't know. So I went down and have a look, had a look and saw that there was nothing wrong. Then I heard that there was a sort of a commotion at the gate a little bit further on with the road. I couldn't exactly see from there what was going on. Elsewhere, I don't know if you're still there.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I went back to the road and went closer to the road, and I saw these guys that were making a noise there, and they were actually breaking down a gate that's been put in to keep cattle out of the farm, and they were breaking down this gate. And I shouted them, they shouted back to me, and they made a noise. I warned them, I said, listen, don't make a noise. The dogs are down here and they will pick you up. The dogs weren't with me. They were with my wife. She went to check out the coffee. We've got a little coffee plantation going. So she went there. It's her interest. And the dogs went with her. It's actually her dogs. And the dogs heard me talking quite loudly at these people. And of course, they heard these people equally loud to me, telling me that I've got to leave the country and all sorts of things like that. Not very nice to hear. And then the dogs on their own stormed past me and started chasing these guys. These guys saw the dogs and they ran away. I called the dogs back because I didn't want any nonsense with the dogs. And the dogs came back. The people were gone. And Annelien joined me, that's my wife, and we went to have a look at the gate. Had to repair it, otherwise the cattle comes in again. And and we went down, and while I was busy repairing the gate as best as I could with my bare hands, I had no tools with me, my wife told me, listen, there's somebody calling here at the back in the bushes. And I went back. In other words, we passed him. In other words, we were between him and the gate. And I went back and had a look down in the bushes there. There's the Nkomaas River flows down that road, actually. And it's quite a deep drop there, and there's a concrete wall. And I saw this guy hiding behind the concrete wall. So I told him to come out. So he came out. So at first he didn't want to come out, that he was scared of the dog. I said, man, come out. The dogs will do nothing to you while I'm here. And he came out. He had a slasher with him. Yeah, a sharpened slasher.
Ponga. Ponga.
No, it's not. No, it's not a ponga. It's along his life. It looks like a sword. A slasher's got a bent point, but the bent point was off, and that was sharpened. But in any case, it's quite a dangerous weapon. And he had to do this thing, and I was talking Zulu to him, and he kept on speaking English back to me, and I couldn't understand why. And then I told him, we were walking now towards the gate. And the dogs were there. And he said, and I told him, I said, listen, this is not Zimbabwe. I thought, okay, this guy can't speak Zulu. He must come from Zimbabwe. And I said, this is not Zimbabwe. You can't go through private property like you like and break things down and stuff like that. And he got quite angry with me and said he's not a Zimbabwean. So I said, okay, where do you stay then? He said, no, up here at, I don't know what the name is, but it's just up here from our place. Vulindlela, he told me. So I said, well, if you come from Vulindlela, you know you can't walk on this road. It's a private road. And we got to the gate, and he got, I don't know what got into him, but I must tell you, in the meanwhile, these guys that ran away came closer, and they were chanting, they want to see blood. Siyabona igazi. And so he was already on the other side of the gate, and I bent down to pick up the gate, or piece of the gate to fix it. And he came with a slasher, and I saw that, and I jumped back, and he missed me the first time. The second time he hit my hand, I just thought, well, I need to get to this guy to take the cutting knife, the slasher, away from him. And he and then the dogs were there. They were all around him, and they sort of guided him towards a rock, and they kept him pinned to a rock. They weren't biting him.
They protected you.
Huh? Yes, definitely they did protect me, but they didn't bite. And then he took that slasher and he hit unfortunately, the older male, which is the alpha male of the 3 bull mastiffs that we have. And then they attacked him, and they locked onto his arms here at the top. And there was the female dog. The bitch got hold of him on his hind leg, and we've got a little fox terrier. The fox terrier was just biting all over at the bottom wherever he could, and bark and made a big noise. Now, I immediately saw that there's going to be big problems. If these dogs are going to pull him down and he's going to struggle because he was struggling, they're going to bite him really, because they were just clamped on. So I jumped forward and got the old dog and the bitch together, the 2 older dogs, and the 3rd bull mastiff was only, I think, about 15 months or so. And I pulled them off him and pulled them into the river to sort of calm them down. And my wife also she got hold of the other bull mastiff, and she pulled him off. And he was still standing there trying to
argue,
point to me that the dogs bit him, and so I really chased him away in very crude language because he didn't want to listen. Because I couldn't hold on too long for the dogs. The dogs are quite strong. They weigh around 80 kgs, and they were really mad at that stage. And I had them in the water to cool them off. So I can't remember whether he walked or ran away, but he ran towards his guys, and I shouted to the guys they must move on, because I can't keep the dogs here all the time subdued. And the other dog was pulling my wife all over the place, so that she was badly bruised in that thing. And they went away, and we left the dogs. And after they calmed down, I continued to fix the gate, and he dropped the slasher. I picked it up, and we went back home. I phoned the police, told them over the phone about the incident, and said, they asked me if they must come out. I said, yes, they must please come out. I want to make a statement. Because of previous incidents that happened, I knew that they could manufacture something out of this. But they never arrived. And
you never heard of them again?
No, at all. 2 weeks later, the police van stopped down at the security gate, which was closed, and I went down and to inquire what they want. And they told me, no, they are here to hear about the story that my dogs bit somebody here. And I said, yes, indeed, the dog did bite somebody here, but they instigated the dogs first to chase them, and then he attacked me, and that's why the dogs behaved in that way. And he was indeed bitten. I saw the marks. I've got nothing, but it is his own fault. He could have walked past there unharmed if he didn't become aggressive, and even after he slashed me, he still could have walked away there unharmed. But he decided to hit one of the dogs. I actually told him when the dog surrounded him, that he should stand dead still. And if he'd done so, nothing would have happened to him. We could have controlled the dogs then.
Okay, that's in short what happened. Then it was very quiet. And then on the 3rd of June, you got a visit.
I think it was the 2nd of June.
2nd of June. Okay.
I think so.
Nice visitor.
Yeah,
nice
I mean, yeah, everything went down quite down. And what now?
Nothing happened to the case until the 2nd of June.
No, nothing. They didn't come back to me. They didn't follow up. They are at the gate when they 2 weeks after this, when they came to inquire about the incident. They asked me why can't they come through the gate, and I said no, I don't open the gate for the police because at the previous occasion, the police misused that to lead the lead the EFF into my farm.
Okay. But what happened? What happened on the 2nd of June? I want to get to the 2nd of June.
On the 2nd of June, it was in the afternoon, well after 3. I was busy pumping the domestic water into a tank that's higher up, so that we can have pressure in the house. And suddenly I heard a vehicle coming up in my road, and I thought it was my wife because I had the security gates already secured and locked and everything, so only my wife can come up because she's got keys to get in. And I stood up and I saw a bakkie coming past, and on the back of the bakkie there were 4 heavily armed, and I'm not talking about R5s and people with bulletproof vests on, balaclavas, masks. It actually looked ominous, and I saw this bakkie coming up, so I ran to the front door to see what was going on. I've got a stoop there, and I can watch the back. And they stopped, and when they stopped, the dogs attacked them. It was horrendous. The dogs jumped into the back of the bakkie, and you had these guys, and they told me that they're going to shoot the dogs if I don't subdue them. So I told the guy there, just hold on a minute, I'll get to the back where it's closer to the dogs. My garage, which is attached to the house, was closer to where the dogs were attacking them, so that I can put the dogs in the house out of way, so that I can hear what the police wanted.
So by then you realized it was police.
Yeah, I realized then that the police was breached my security gates. And
how many
at that stage, I still thought that the police was after somebody else, and maybe that somebody passed the farm and they had to get through the gates by any means and stuff like that. And that's what I thought, and that they wanted access to the farm next to me. That's what I thought. It was somebody running away from them and they were chasing him. I never thought it was me that they were chasing. So I went to the back of the garage, and as I opened the garage, it's a huge double garage and double door. I pushed up the door. I saw one of these, another heavily armed guy coming from the left side, and the little dog heard that I was opening the door, and she came towards the door to come in. And this guy came and he kicked, I don't know how many yards away. The dog just fell there. I thought that the dog was dead. Then as I opened the door, I just heard the thunder flashes that they have thrown. I don't know what they call these things that explode with a very hard noise. Explosions and gunshots, and I just let the door go, closed it, and I ran to the front door to see what the hell was going on. And as I got to my front door, he was a heavily armed guy, and he pointed a R5 straight at me. I mean, all my doors to the front was open, because that is where I came from. And I stood there and I just wondered, what am I going to do now? This guy can shoot me in cold blood. And while I was still standing there, it was 3 guys that came in and held me by my arms at my back. They came in quickly. I didn't see them because my view to that side was obscured, and they got hold of me, 2 guys at the back and another guy, and he just started hitting me with his fist in my face and on my whole body. He was just hitting me, and I could do nothing. I was just sat there, and I just could roll my face around, trying to dodge the blows. But he knocked me out clear. I mean, I was completely out for certain stage, not once, but a couple of times. And then another guy joined him, a little short guy joined him, and he started doing ostrich kicks to me. He kicked me, and eventually I collapsed to the floor, and I was lying on the floor, and then they had me with their boots. They kicked me all over, in my back, in here, and my thighs and legs, and my head, and then somebody jumped at me and yanked my arms at the back, and they used cuffs at the back, but they put 2 cuffs down. My arms were so tightly hit my back. It was under, and then I had to get up myself, and as I get up, they knocked me back to the floor. It was horrible. I thought that they're going to kill me. Then they wanted my weapons. Where are your weapons? Now, I've got no weapons. Previously, the Umkomaas police took my only, what do you call it, a revolver, armed hand weapon. They took that under false pretenses, and to this day, it has never come back. Not my revolver, not my license, not my competency certificate. They took all that away from me. And it's stashed away somewhere there in the offices in one of their vaults there. But so I told them I've got no weapon. They asked me where the weapon was. I said the weapon is in your police station. You know it. And then they got hold of ammunition that was still here for my caliber. It was not mine, but it was the same caliber as my rifle. It was actually a friend. They sometimes come out here and shoot, and he has left the packet there, and I picked up the packet and I put it in the gun vault. And they kept on hitting me at the back of my head and kicking me, and you know, when you walk and somebody hit you here behind your knees, you fall down. That's what they did with me. And I had to go to them with each room. When we came into the garage, they swept all my, I was busy doing my tax, so all the little invoices and stuff were sorted out in the different categories, and you know, all the things that you have to work out for SARS was worked out on papers, so that I can just put it into the e-file. They ransacked that. They put all that in a box. That box is to this day missing. I think I know where it is. It disappeared with a small little dog, which we thought were dead. But yeah, so, and then suddenly, at one stage, they say there's a umlungu. I forgot one important thing. When these people drove up here, and I saw it wasn't my wife, I actually took the phone. We've got a satellite phone. We haven't got cell phone connections here. So I took the satellite phone and I spoke to my wife. And the phone was on the whole time until they started beating me when they broke the phone. So she knew that I was in trouble. So, but then they said there was Mlungu, and that moment, that person that stood on my veranda that said that there was Mlungu, that's a white man, at the bottom of the gate, they stopped beating me. Then I realized that the person that was standing on the veranda was I think a colonel. And his name was Nzimande. That I can still remember. And then they stopped and they shoved me through the house a little bit, and then they took me outside. But they haven't touched me since the Mlungu. When I came out, there's a big friend of mine, Fani Meyer, which I know from school years. He was there, and he's also fluent in Zulu, and asking what was going on, and then they told him they came to arrest me. I also must tell you that in that time, when they said the Mlungu was here, they produced a paper and they said that is the search warrant which gives them the right to apparently do everything, anything and everything in my house that they were doing. And then they took me outside, processed me, and put me in a van. And from there, I can't remember a thing. The only thing after that I remember was the high walls of St. Augustine's Hospital when they offloaded me out of the ambulance.
You were admitted to hospital and you had a brain operation and you were in ICU for 10 days and your life was saved.
Yeah, this is where things are not clear. Apparently, after that, I did things. I was taken to hospital. They took x-rays of me and they discharged me. I came home. I slept here the night. I made a lot of notes that night. I put something on the on Facebook. That is where this thing of Agri-Forum and what they said came forward. I know nothing about it. My wife picked it up. I came here. I made a lot of notes. I think I wrote about 4 or 5 pages of what I remembered.
But you can't remember anything.
And of that I wrote down are things that I can't remember now. But it was written down here.
But you needed
medical. And apparently then I went in that state that I was. I attended court the morning, and after court, I think I went to the police station where I had the seizures, and for apparently it was hours. I was saved again by Fani Meyer. Because somebody here, somebody that works with the police, I don't actually know how these things work, but he came to the police station to do something, and he saw me lying there, and he had something to do with the sale of my farm, and he still had my wife's telephone number somehow, and he phoned her, and my wife phoned Fani, and Fani came, and they organized an ambulance to take me to hospital, and then I was taken to hospital, and I was
Operated.
Yeah, and then they took me in, and of course when they wanted the seizures, they found a growth, yeah, on top of my head, and so they had to take that out, but they didn't took it out because it was dangerous, because they took it out because they didn't know how that can contribute to further convulsions and stuff like that. So they took it out. I would have been in hospital in any case for around about 10 days to stabilize, and I was under a neurosurgeon there. The problem with the brain tumor is that everybody focused on that and they forgot all the other things. When I go and see a psychiatrist now that specializes in brain trauma, the damage in my brain is in the front, where a certain part of the brain has got damage, and that's why I've got this void. And every time I get a seizure, I can't remember things about that because I had seizures afterwards. I had a seizure. I was driving back from court once, and I made a smash with my car. Luckily, nobody else was involved. It was only my car and the Eskom box. And then I had a seizure here one night, but they're getting less. I didn't have a seizure or close to a seizure after that, so I just hope it stays that way. But I've got a terrible loss in things that I normally, I think I took for granted, like a complex mathematical problems, which was sort of like my daily meal that I could do, which I couldn't. I actually started going through my first year physics and even standard 10 physics lessons just to pick up some stuff and reorganize around this that I've lost. And yeah, that was quite bad to have that loss. And now you've got to do a lot of intricate mathematical solutions, which I mean, it was part of my normal work to do it, and complex chemical formulae and things like that that I just couldn't do. Yeah, that I just couldn't do. I could have done it out of my head. Now I've got to go back to the books, and I actually have to learn myself again in sort of my trade that I was.
Flippy, how many policemen came to assault you?
I think there were 21 policemen booked out.
Several vehicles.
This, yeah, they came even with they even had a station wagon bus.
Okay. I just want to connect. We were talking
amongst all the other vehicles.
Yeah, we were talking about two incidents. The guy attacking you with the panga and the dogs that protected you. And then suddenly in November, yes, these police pitched up. So they came to arrest you, and at the end, it became clear that they arrested you because of that dog bite. That's correct, hey?
Yeah, and I must tell you, I knew that I was arrested for the dog bite. That I knew when after they beaten me up here and they took me outside. I was arrested for assault with. Yes, but you see, for 10 days I was away from my house. I was away from everything. And when I came back, I pick up this paper that they've given me while I was here in the spare room. It was lying on the bed of the spare. It was the warrant to search my premises.
Yeah.
And they cite on that warrant case number that is not closely related to me. It doesn't even have my name on it. So that was signed by the chief magistrate of
Scottsboro.
Of the Scottsboro Magistrates Court. How on earth he could have signed that thing? I mean, they came to search. What do they want to come and search in my house when the dog has bitten somebody somewhere else on my farm?
Yeah.
There was absolutely no firearm involved. Yeah. I do not possess a firearm myself. What did they come and look for?
Trouble.
Yeah, they were. I must tell you, before my friend arrived, I thought that I was going to die. I thought they're going to kill me and they're going to leave, and this will be just another farm murder.
That's what's bothering me about the whole story. If you died, nobody would have known that the attackers were police. But you survived to tell the story.
My wife would have known because I was on the phone with her, remember? My wife would have known. But they didn't know. My wife knew. They didn't know that I was talking to my wife.
My question is, how many farm murders isn't police and the people don't live to tell, you know? You survived to tell the story.
Yes, I do.
Okay, then they trumped up a lot of charges. It's not only the dog bite. They charge you with criminal injuria because you called that guy a Zimbabwean. Suddenly, Zimbabwean became a curse word, and they also accused you of using the K word. So,
then because I was looking back to it. I think you're breaking up a bit.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. You just broke up a bit. I didn't hear what you say. And I think I talked over you.
I'm trying to get my phone reconnected.
I still see you.
You still see me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you well.
Okay, let's continue. So there was a lot of charges against you. And I lost count. How many times did Patriot for Minorities come down to Scottsboro?
Well, you know that better than me. I don't know how many botched court dates we have, but I think it must be more than 20. It might be close to 30. I don't know.
30 court dates, yes. Okay, and then last week we got the good news, and you were acquitted on all the charges. You were in court. Do you have any comments on the judgment of the magistrate?
I think I had a fantastic magistrate that oversaw the proceedings. I think he was unbiased. You can see that he had a lot of what do you say it, experience. And he at least listened to all the testimonies that were laid before him. And yeah, I must say you that the advocate that I had, Johan van Dyk, Advocate Johan van Dyk, was excellent in cross-examination. And he really had them in tangles. And because I was, the stories that they spun there in the court was unbelievable. I mean, I was this racist that that don't
was
like blacks, that don't, and that, you know, not only that, but also that I am vile in my normal language stuff. They say, it just painted me as a completely not me.
yes.
And they were lying so much that they were lying against one another. Their testimony didn't match up. Not even about what happened. If they stood close to the truth, I might have been more trouble. But I think with this magistrate, if I had another magistrate, it might have been different. But for also, this magistrate, I mean, when he gave the, I don't know what uitspraak is in English.
Judgment.
When he gave the
judgment.
When he gave the judgment, he decimated the
evidence of the state. Yeah.
Yeah, he decimated that, and that I attribute towards Johan, because he really followed up the facts, and he followed up the discrepancies that, and he picked it up, and he tore into that, and yeah, their testimony were laid bare as lies.
Yeah.
So he couldn't find me possibly. He had to acquit me. I mean, but I mean, you know, in South Africa, it doesn't really matter. I mean, if I had to look at some cases where where the testimony didn't matter one iota, but the color of who was who was accused. The color of the accused made more of an
it's
impact.
Like the coffin case. It's like the coffin case also did, but
well, not only the coffin case, but even the sunflower case. And you can name. There are stacks of cases that because of the color of your skin, they just they just make it good for you. It doesn't matter whether you know, there is such a thing that you have to be proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. But it seems to me in the courts in South Africa, or in some courts, or with some people, they don't. It doesn't worry them. They just find you guilty, and that is a terrifying thing. If you go to court, even if you are not guilty of something, you can be found guilty of something.
Yes, it do happen. What I picked up in your case is it was loaded with racism. The evidence, the testimony, was the hatred that they showed in court. The expressions on their faces were full of hate. And the first witness testified that this whole case was promoted, was pushed by some big shot of the EFF. This was an EFF battle against Flippie van Dyk.
Yeah,
and they used
it's actually a, yeah.
The EFF used the police to attack you like that, to drag you to court, to make up false charges against you, and to let you suffer so you can leave your...
I'm busy with something. Phone me later. Sorry about that.
And there was, even at the first few appearances, there was a lot of EFF people at the court, performing outside court, sitting in the court, way past the volumes the courts allow in COVID. They even sit in the seats where nobody was allowed to sit. And up until the very last day, the EFF were present at every court appearance. So it was a political matter.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I was, of course, before Gumede, I think it's the guy that testified about the EFF's involvement in this case. You will remember when we arrived the first time for trial, that the EFF brought Scotbury to a standstill.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were placed under protection. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes. Well, first few times they have to.
Maybe you will remember. Maybe you will remember when the police stole another Toyota, thinking it was mine. When they had to go and retrieve my vehicle in Scotbury because we were taken outside of Scotbury for our own safety.
Yeah, they escorted
can you believe that in a civilized country like we are supposed to be, in a democratic country, when you're placed before court, a political party just decide that they will make it difficult. It is beyond thought to think that a political party can interfere with the run of justice.
Yeah.
To physically, I mean, they physically crashed into Johan at one stage, the advocate, and at me when we left the court buildings. They, I mean, they are thugs.
They attacked us.
And that is the EFF. They are, I don't know what, but I don't want to say too much, but it is unbelievable that it is allowed, the way that they operate. If we go about that way, I think we will sit in jail very quickly.
Yeah. Okay. And that is your story. You are acquitted now. The nightmare is over. Yeah, now it's time for advertisements. You said you want to say something for Patriot for minorities, so it's advertising time now.
Yes, well, as the guys might have been, I had a previous court case against me, which I fought on my own, and at that stage, AfriForum also didn't want to get involved, not even on a support level. I wasn't really thinking of financial support and support in court. I was just thinking of, you know,
emotional,
normal support. Yeah, something like that. But nothing. They took your money quite easily, but yeah. So I went through that court. That court case has cost me 330,000 rand in legal fees. Let's forget about the production in the fall in production of the farm, or the work that hasn't been done. And a lot of other strain that you go through. I mean, my sons left the farm. They didn't want to do anything with farming in South Africa. Again, my one son is farming in America now. He could have been farming with me. And things like that that's been taken away from me in that court case. But yeah, so because of that, I was living very carefully. I didn't want to make trouble, you know. I wouldn't pull out a rifle. But I was acquitted of that. But I was acquitted, but I had no money left after that. Absolutely nothing. I was clear. And then this thing came over me, over my road, and I was destitute. I didn't know what to do. I thought I would go and I'll have to go and defend myself. And then I got this life-saving vest from Patriot of Minorities. I was actually still in hospital, and they contacted my wife, and they wanted to help me because they are defending the rights of minorities, and they looked at cases where your human rights has been trampled on by the government. And yeah, this is what happened. And they offered me not only assistance in the court case, but assistance besides that. I mean, there's a lot of emotional stuff going on, and that they sort of took care of, and in the process of pacifying you to such an extent that you were more calm. The court case itself, I mean, I had two legal people, yourself and Johan van Wyk, that were the most of the cases. And the presentation was absolutely professional, and it was purposeful and yeah, very professional done. And I think that the conduct in the court must be something that everybody would strive for. I mean, with all the problems that we had, I mean, the EFF trying to upset the case, and the prosecutor trying to, well, not trying, because they got it right. They were postponing the cases for nothing, just so that it would cost more, and that there's more injury. Patriot for Minorities performed wonderfully, even when it got tight for them, because they're not a organization with a bank full of money and can bankroll here and can bankroll there. No, what they do is, at this stage, is that the legal fees, they do it gratis, they do it for free, but there are still costs that needs to be recovered. Flying costs, cost to stay, to reproduce documents, to reproduce photographs, to eat, to do a lot of things. That cost money. And I think that everybody should be part of Patriot for Minorities. They are not a political organization. They're not they are there for any member of any minority, and all you need to do is become part of the movement, become part of a member, and get the big one of the big things that they offer is if you need any legal advice, you get that, and they give you legal advice. A lot of the of things that happens in courts and people that strike mishap in court is because of the legal representation that wasn't up to scratch. And I tell you that their legal representation is good. They know what is going on in cases. They know how to apply for bail. They know what the conditions are to get bail. I mean, with other cases, they got bail where other lawyers didn't get bail, and that is because they know what the requirements for bail are, or the new requirements for bail is. A lot of lawyers don't do those things. They still think the bail is like it was in the old times. That has changed, and they've got a very good network of legal people around them. They are legal people, so they know other legal people and they know what legal people is good in what legal matters, so that they can assign or promote or give people, or advise people to go to who. So yeah, that is one of the big things, but they need money and we need to donate. And don't become I wonder if you guys remember that one guy that boxed the EFF guy at I think it was, I don't know at which school it was.
Brackenfell.
And yeah, Brackenfell. And everybody instigated that guy that he must go and have fisticuffs with the EFF, and he did that, and he gave the EFF guy a good hiding, and then the EFF just went to court, and that guy sits in court there, and then nobody, not one of the guys that enticed him to be physical wants to help him. And Patriots for Minorities couldn't help him because they couldn't raise the money to fly down to the Cape or to get a lawyer there to represent him. I don't know what happened to the case. Somebody maybe helped him there, but this is the kind of things that we are in. And don't think that you are not involved. I mean, there are, it can happen to you. Your wife can just drive over a stop street or something like that, and all hell break loose on you, and you sit with a big problem. It just happens. Your dog gets out of your yard and bites somebody, and that guy goes to the police and tell them that you instigated the dog to bite him and stuff like that. It happens, people. So I think one good thing to do and to donate to is towards Patriots for Minorities. They are NPC, a non-profit organization, so they don't make profit out of their antics. They need to cover their costs though. And don't think that any of the government institutions will help you. I wrote a letter to the Human Rights Commission. They didn't even bother to reply. They didn't even say that they received the letter. They just did nothing. I just know that the email was opened. But maybe I'm ugly or so, but I think they just saw it was a straight white male that wrote the letter, and then it went to the trash can. That is what the Human Rights Commission. The political parties, They were not interested, not even the right-wing parties, the conservative parties. They were not interested. The Democratic Alliance wasn't interested. So, people, let me tell you, if in the problem, if you are in a tight spot, you are alone. So get somebody that will walk the road with you and open up relations with Patriot for Minorities, Patriot for Minderhede. They do good work.
Dankie.
They advertise more.
Ek waardeer. The reason why I appreciate it is if we tell the people that they think are begging for money, but we need money to do what we do, and it's our passion to fight for human rights.
Yes.
And without support, we can't survive. You had such a beautiful parable this morning with Volrad Woltemade, the guy who rescued the people from the ship.
Yeah. You broke up here from my side. I don't know if the link is down.
Are you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah, my connection is not so good anymore. So I think we say goodbye. We'll make another video in future. There's so much to say, but I hope people will learn from this video and see how easy it can happen and how farmers are killed on their farms.
Yeah, well, it is just the whole destabilization. And the destabilization, especially of white, medium, small farmers and small holding owners that undergo this. And we have to see the truth. I wish that you could send a film crew or something there up to me, and I will show you where the rich people stay, and I will show you where the poor people stay, and we will sort of make a demography out of it and see who stays in the big new houses, where do they stay, how do they do it. It is absolutely astounding. I actually came in a bit late. I saw that you phoned in, but it is astounding. I saw that they were building a new house here up, and so I had to go and have a look at it, and I was amazed at the area, how it changed in the maybe last 2 years that I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
No.
And it's public. It's public land, hey? It's public land where they built these palaces.
I don't know if the king's land is public land, but the trusts, of course, the Zulu kingdom wants more land. It's just a pity that they take land now in a piece of the country where they've never been. But yeah.
Just before we say goodbye, I just want to wish you best with your operation. You are going to have another operation to try and fix your back operation, and that you will be fit and well soon. Good luck with that as well.
Yeah, I hope my operation is the last of this. I had much. This has cost me a lot. I have in a message just sort of calculated what this case has cost the state and me together. It's close to 5 million rand that has been squandered. Could have been used to build maybe a couple of houses, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 houses for people that haven't got houses. I don't know, but I mean, that is how we squander money in South Africa, and that is besides the corruption, because this is not corruption. This is just money squandering, you know, money that could have been used for better purposes, but they choose to do it this way, and it is a pity, because if you look around you, you see the decay of the public infrastructure and stuff like that. The club and public law and order, it does not exist even. The people that build here on the top of me without plans, I mean, those people must have toilets, but there is no sewage system. That all washes down to us here alongside the river. The water collects here, and we pump that river back and we drink that water. They clean it, of course, but that is immaterial. It is just the lawlessness, the unorderliness of the society we've become. And it is prevalent all over. It's in the courts. It's all over, and here and there are people that are trying to get it right, but they are in the minority. People like the magistrate I think he's an excellent guy. But if I think about the boss, that's something else.
Yeah. Okay, I see we have difficulty with the connection. I lose you time to time, so I think we stop it here. Thank you for your time. Okay. Thank you for the conversation, and I hope it cleared up a lot of uncertainties.
Okay. You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Cheers.